I warned the fake HOA patrol to leave. They ignored me and regretted it. Introduction. A quiet evening. It was supposed to be a quiet evening. The sun was just starting to set over the neighborhood, casting long orange shadows across the street. Kids were riding bikes. A few neighbors were walking their dogs. Nothing unusual, until I saw the patrol car. Not a real police car. A white SUV with magnetic decals slapped on the sides that read, HOA Neighborhood Patrol. I frowned. I'd lived in this community long enough to know one thing for sure. We did not have an HOA patrol. The suspicious vehicle, the SUV, rolled slowly down the street like it owned the place. Two guys sat inside wearing cheap security uniforms. They were stopping at houses, knocking on doors, taking photos of driveways, and writing things down on clipboards. I stepped outside my garage and watched. One of my neighbors, Mrs. Delgado, looked confused while they talked to her. She kept shaking her head. Something about this felt very wrong. First confrontation. Eventually the SUV stopped in front of my house. One of the men stepped out. He had a badge clipped to his shirt, but it looked like something you could buy online. Evening, he said. We're with HOA Patrol, routine inspection. I leaned against my truck. Interesting, I said calmly. Because our HOA doesn't have a patrol. He paused just for a second. Then he forced a smile. Well, they do now. The fake authority. He pointed toward my driveway. You're in violation of HOA parking rules. I looked behind me. My truck parked in my driveway. Which rule is that? I asked. He flipped through his clipboard. You'll receive a fine. That's when I realized something important. This guy wasn't just bluffing. He expected people to believe him. Warning them, I straightened up. Listen carefully, I told him. You need to leave. His smile disappeared. What did you say? I said leave. I repeated calmly. You're impersonating an HOA enforcement officer. The second guy stepped out of the SUV now, arms crossed, trying to look intimidating. Sir, he said, you don't want to interfere with an official inspection. Neighbors start watching by now. Neighbors had started noticing. Front doors opened. People stepped onto porches. Phones appeared in hands. The tension in the street was rising. I looked at both of them. You've got about 1 minute, I said, before this becomes a much bigger problem for you. They laughed. Actually laughed. Big mistake.
The fake citation. The first guy started filling out a ticket. Failure to comply, he muttered. Then he tried to stick the paper under my windshield wiper. I stopped him. Don't touch my vehicle. He rolled his eyes. You'll be hearing from the HOA. That's when I pulled out my phone and made a call. The call that changed everything. I stepped aside and dialed the number. The guy with the clipboard smirked. Calling the HOA to complain? He asked. No, I said. What? I'm calling the sheriff. The smirk vanished instantly. The fake patrol gets nervous. Suddenly their confidence started cracking. The second guy whispered something to the first. They looked around the street. Now there were at least 8 neighbors watching, and multiple phones recording. You don't need to do that, the first guy said. His tone had changed. A lot. I shrugged. Too late. The sheriff arrives 10 minutes later. A real patrol car turned onto the street. Red and blue lights flashed across the houses. The fake patrol SUV suddenly didn't look so official anymore. The sheriff stepped out slowly, hand resting casually on his belt. What's going on here? The clipboard guy spoke first. We're HOA patrol conducting. The sheriff held up a hand. Stop. He pointed at the SUV. Step away from the vehicle. The truth comes out. Within minutes, the story unraveled. The decals. Fake. The badges. Online purchases. The tickets. Printed at home. They had been driving around neighborhoods pretending to enforce HOA rules and hoping homeowners would pay fake fines. The sheriff wasn't amused, not even a little. To the moment of regret. One of the fake patrol guys looked straight at me, his face pale. You called the sheriff over this? I shrugged. I warned you to leave. The sheriff placed both of them in handcuffs, right there in the street. Neighbors gasped. Phones kept recording. The aftermath, the fake patrol SUV was towed away. The sheriff took statements from several neighbors. Turns out they had already tried this trick in multiple neighborhoods. But tonight, they picked the wrong street and the wrong house. Neighborhood reaction after everything settled down. My neighbors gathered outside. Mrs. Delgado laughed. Almost paid them $50 earlier. Another neighbor shook his head. They looked so official. That's the problem. Scammers rely on confidence. Most people don't question authority. Lessons learned that night taught everyone on the street something important. Always verify authority. Never pay fines to random enforcers. If something feels wrong, trust that instinct. And don't be afraid to call real law enforcement, because sometimes People pretending to enforce the rules are the ones breaking them. Closing. So when those fake HOA patrol officers ignored my warning, they thought I was bluffing. They thought nobody would question them. They thought they could just drive away. They were wrong. Very wrong. Call to action. Have you ever dealt with fake authority or HOA drama? Tell your story in the comments. Let me know. What would you have done in that situation? If you enjoyed this story, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for more crazy neighborhood stories.